So here we are again with another episode of your favorite podcast, the Public Figures Podcast.
When's Timo coming back? I saw he wrapped up his movie. Isn't he coming back?
Well, actually, I talked to him the other day, and he is like just spending pretty much every waking hour with his kids because he hasn't seen his kids in a long time. So he's spending a lot of quality time with his kids. So I don't know. He'll definitely come back, but I think you're pretty much, you have the chair.
The Timo seat.
You have the Johnny seat, and if he comes back, it'll be the three of us.
I see.
Well, because I can't count on him. He's like a very
mercurial.
I'd say he's mercurial. I'd also say that I definitely say he's mercurial, but also I'd say
he's
that
quixotic.
I don't know what that means. Is that like Don Quixote?
I think so. I think that's the origin of the word. So
he's a lot like Don Quixote.
Yeah, I don't know. Look it up. I think it might mean.
What do you mean look it up? You look it up. You're the one who said it.
Oh, I thought it meant somewhat like mysterious.
Okay, yeah, I think that's. I've seen it used in books before to describe characters, and that seems like enigmatic is sort of like a synonym for quixotic. But yeah, the thing about Timo is just that he's very he's got a lot of shit going on, not just work wise. He's single, but he's got 2 kids, and Timo kind of fucks a lot.
Really? Idealistic, romantic, starry. Yeah, so that's like Don Quixote. Idealistic, romantic, starry-eyed, unrealistic, unworldly.
He's a dreamer.
Right, so he is quixotic.
I'd say that he's quixotic. We can conclude that Timo's definitely a quixotic guy. You could describe him as such.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fuck. Well, yeah. Hopefully we can get him back and we can do a threesome.
Thruple.
An MMM threesome. He actually is really, really super educated on action and horror films of the 2000s. Okay. He has a thread that's pinned on his Twitter that's just all of his favorite 2000 to 2009 kind of just sort of junky action and horror films. And they're
I'll have to take a look at his list and judge it.
Yeah, you should. There's I guess people were still making good movies back in the 2000s. There still was an incentive to make good movies. These days, not so much.
Still slightly pre-internet.
Right.
Or pre-social media.
Yeah, I think the social media thing is really what fucked it all up. Internet. Do you know have you heard of the porn star, a male porn star called John Doe from the 90s, 80s and 90s maybe?
No, I thought he was the lead singer of the band X.
The Japanese band X?
No, the American punk band X from Los Angeles.
Oh, okay. No, he's not that guy. Well, maybe he is. I don't really know, but could a guy be a porn star and also a punk singer?
I don't think he was a porn star. I think he was just a punk singer.
I think it's a different guy.
Yeah.
But I was lackadaisically kind of going through Wikipedia, and I came to John Doe, the porn star, and I found out that he killed himself because he was sad. According to the people around him, he was very sad about illegal piracy and the internet destroying porn. He was sad about kind of the porn business going into the dumpster because of internet related things. So he ended up hanging himself, and I thought that was kind of funny. That it's because it's such a unsympathetic reason to kill yourself. It's he killed himself because he couldn't make money off of doing porn anymore. And everyone's just kind of oh fuck, get a real job.
He could have.
He could have made money off of porn, or he could have got a real job.
Both.
Yeah, that's
There's a lot
true.
of other options. It sounded like it was more just sort of like a general sort of like he didn't like the way that the culture was moving, so
Yeah,
to end it.
I remember talking with some tattoo artist. I think he might have been like Slovenian, but he works in New York City, and he was talking about how like it's tough just to be like an American traditional tattoo artist who just does like, you know, who just does American traditional designs and has kind of like a pretty typical American traditional style, because there's so many like kids who are coming up these days, and like the technology, like the tattoo gun technology has become so easy to use, and like there are kids who are like literally a third his age, and they're better than him, and they're faster, and it's just the only way that you can actually like stay afloat in that business is to be able to offer something that no one else can offer.
Sure.
And that really boils down to like a style, and people can copy a style, but they can't really, like they can't work within a style, and keep creating new images or whatever, flash and stuff that is still the same style, but is kind of like growing. Essentially you have to be a fucking a celebrity. I say this because this is a good indication of just like what everyone has to be these days who is working in the creative field. They have to be like their own brand. You can't just be like a.
No wonder I'm bad at this.
Yeah, you can't be. Well, no, you definitely have your own. Like you're undeniably Johnny Ryan. No one else does. No one else.
But that's not through any. I don't ever feel like I'm trying to make an effort to be a celebrity.
Yeah, that's true. But I mean, yeah, I guess you're right. Maybe celebrity is not the right word, but like, like you need to have, you need to have a very defined brand. How does that sound?
I guess so.
Let's take a little detour before we get into our films of today. Let's talk about your comics for a second.
Uh-oh, why?
I don't know, because someone left a comment on the last video saying first of all that I should fucking stop being a fucking piece of shit and go along with the eggplant meter rating.
Well, that I agree with.
Right. And then the second thing...
Stop being so pretentious.
Yeah. And then the second thing is some guy said, like, we should talk about books and comics, like horror books and comics. And I thought, yeah, okay, maybe we can talk about horror books and comics, but like, that's kind of like what that's what you make. Like you make like kind of like horror comics. So like, why not talk about your own fucking shit? I mean,
Okay.
Do you not want to do that?
I don't know. It depends. Like, I don't think I could speak sort of just like off the cuff about it. But if you had a question, I could probably answer.
Yeah. Of course, I'm going to interview you.
Oh, okay.
Well, I'm not. Whatever. It's like a fucking casual. Because I don't know that I've asked you too many of these questions before. Like sure. I usually just talk to you about like movies, and that's John Doe and porn, and asking you to recommend me some good porn. So the first thing is, which of your like tales of terror comics that you've been doing recently and publishing through Mansion Press, do you feel is like the one that you like the most and you feel is the most successful?
Just off the top of my head, I feel like Who Raped My Horse I'm pretty proud of that. And because I remember the experience of writing it and then also sort of like rereading it. And it was one of those things where I was just like, wow, I can't even believe I pulled this off. Like I was very pleased with myself in how I executed that. So, yeah, I'm proud of that one.
Okay. For our listeners, Johnny right now, he's beaming. His smile is from ear to ear, and his cheeks are rosy. So you like Who Raped My Horse? Let's go. So you got Fuck My Son, Who Raped My Horse, Campground Sluts.
Fuck My Son was also, I feel like, a real turning point. That was pretty exciting as well. And Campground Slut was fun, but it felt like it was like a completely different, because of the subject, it was like just this completely different experience, which I also liked, but it was, I don't know, there's something about like with Campground Slut, it was like literally about connecting one crazy sexual encounter to the next one, and just kind of like tracking that story and eliminating each girl as you went.
Right. Like a slasher.
But Who Raped My Horse was such sort of like this kind of mystery and kind of like creating the mystery, creating all these sort of suspects and who did it, and tracking this girl as she's trying to like figure out who raped the horse, and then also, like, as I was working on it, I really wasn't sure where it was going to go. I knew I did not want to have that kind of moment where the detective is sort of like, well, it was Colonel Mustard in the billiard room and with the wrench, and here's why he did it. Like, that always just takes the wind out of any story, any mystery story.
Like an Agatha Christie ending.
Yeah, I wanted to avoid that. Because whoever did it, like, when you reveal that information, it just like completely just like you feel just like, oh, okay, whatever. I guess somebody did it. So I wanted to avoid that. So when I got to the middle part where she is accused of murder and sent to some sort of child prison.
Well, it's like a fucking mental institution almost.
Yeah, it's just sort of like a reformatory for kids who do bad things, and to put her in this sort of hole, and then she kind of sort of discovers who actually did it, but she's in absolutely no position to do anything about it. So to then like have her do this slow crawl out of the hole to confront the person who she finds out who she discovers is who raped the horse, and have like the big sort of dramatic showdown, I thought was far more exciting. Right.
Fuck. You mentioned before that, like, you know, you write these things. That's something that you take for granted. It's funny, like, so much of the stuff that like we take for granted are things that like other people can't really even fathom. Like, for example, like you being able to write a story, like you being able to do a comic, drawing a page a day, and putting together like a cohesive story. I've said that to people. That's what this guy does, and he's like, was it all just like a bunch of fucking nonsense? And I'm like, no, actually, you wouldn't think it. You would just, you wouldn't think that he just does them a page a day and kind of just writes them off the top of his head. But in fact, that's what he does. And it's like, well, how does he do that? Because very few people, there are people who approach comics like that. They'll actually write a screenplay. Like they'll actually write a screenplay. And I've never, ever thought that made sense at all.
Well, I mean, like if you're dealing with somebody like Alan Moore, who, he can't draw a comic, so he's literally writing a script to hand over to, Dave Gibbons, who's then going to draw from whatever Alan Moore writes. So, there are situations where people work that way.
Sure. But I mean, but I'm talking more about like, a creator who's a writer and an artist. Like a guy will sit down and write a screenplay and then be like, all right, done, the end. All right, time to get to work. And then he'll go to page 1 and he'll just kind of like go through the process of just like,
I mean, there are artists, comic artists who do that. I'm not one of them.
I mean, I guess I'm not one of them either, because the thought of doing that is, it just seems so boring, and it just seems like factory work, just like making sausages in a factory, because you already know.
Exactly. Yeah. It's just the idea of knowing exactly where everything is going before you sit down and draw it sounds like torture. Like I like to have a seed of an idea of like, okay, I know I'm going in this direction. This is the direction I want to go to. But when you sit down to draw, there needs to be some element of spontaneity in what you're doing in order to keep your mind alive.
Right.
And to be engaged in what you're doing. It's part of the fun. That
as you said, like keeping your mind alive, that aliveness and engagement, it comes off in the work. Like if you're excited about it, it comes off in the work, and that's what kind of makes it different than other comics. Is just because
there could be a situation too where you could write an entire script of like, okay, here's the whole script of what I'm going to do. You sit down to draw it and you're like, this is not working. Like, and then what do? You got to go fucking back and rewrite the script. It's just kind of like, there's plenty of times where, I'll even have like an idea of like, I'm going to do this. And then I sit down and I start drawing. I'm like, I'm not pushing it far enough. Like this seems sort of tepid. Like I need to push it even farther than what I was initially wanting to do. And I feel like you have to be, as you're working, you have to be open to those moments of spontaneity and change. And if you're working from some kind of like very concrete script, you're not gonna get that as much.
No, not at all. I think I first started seeing your comics in Vice magazine, and then as a kind of like a late teenager, like when I was like 18, like 17, 18, 19. And I think that there were like Fantagraphics ads in Heavy Metal. Maybe I'm wrong, but like I definitely saw like I definitely saw like ads for your books, Blecky Yuccarella and Angry Youth Comics and stuff, and these collections I just not like. I never was like compelled to buy them because they let me put it this way. I would definitely have picked them up if I'd seen them in a bookstore and leafed through them and then maybe bought them. But it was Prison Pit. When I first saw those, I was like, oh, this is something that I should probably buy, and because I feel like I would definitely love this, And so then I actually ordered. I ordered the first volume of Prison Pit, and it was really cool, and I loved it, and all this kind of stuff. And then I got into the other ones too, and eventually I got to the end of that. But then the next thing that I kind of didn't read any of your stuff for like a while, and then I saw I think I saw like on your Instagram the Fuck My Son comic show up. So then so I was like, oh, Patreon, okay, that's great. So I can just pay $5 and I can just read this thing. And that one was the one that I liked the most. And in fact, if you were to ask me which one of your comics do I think is like the most successful, probably Fuck My Son is the one that I feel is the most successful, because it feels like, it feels like it would make a great movie. You know what I'm saying?
Nice segue.
Yeah. Well, we're not. That's all we have to say about that. But the thing is what I liked the most about it was like how. Oh, and also Maniac Army was one too. I forgot to mention that one. That's one I always forget about. Although I really like that one as well. But what
that
I really
one was
like,
like right after Fuck My Son.
Sure. What I really like about the work is how you kind of like relate it to or you don't relate. You reference like real world like stupid products like a lot in your work, or like celebrities or like singers or like just songs like, and it's super funny, and that's what I felt like Prison Pit was kind of missing, because it takes place in this sort of like alien world, so like this sort of like parodying kind of mundane like bird's eye fucking microwave dinners and stuff like that. Like
chicken voila.
Yeah, chicken voila. Like, maybe I'm fucking retarded for thinking it's so funny, but like that kind of shit always makes me laugh.
Well, especially with Fuck My Son, I was literally just thinking of like, what's a good horror movie? Like, okay, it has to be. I didn't want anything supernatural. I wanted it to be like the most horrific stuff is like real shit. So like what's like a very like real awful, horrible situation that a person could be in? Well, being forced to have sex with something that is really awful and gross and terrible and disgusting. Okay, so like creating that scenario, like, okay, so having this old woman force this lady to fuck her son, who's like this horrible, just like the most repugnant fucking slob that's ever existed, and sort of forcing her at gunpoint to do it, and then adding having her daughter there too, in the mix was sort of I felt like it was also an extra kind of fun escalation of the horror, of the danger of what's going on. I think I had just seen that movie Run and Kill,
right,
the Hong Kong movie, and seeing like how putting a kid in a horrible situation like really it's like immediately adds to the level of horror of any situation. You put a kid in that situation, it's just like it elevates it like 1,000 times.
Yeah. Well, when you use the kid as like like if you use the kid's sort of well-being as a threat against their parent, right, that's the key. Like, I mean, when you have Mama from Mama's Family in Fuck My Son, which I can only imagine that's who it is supposed to be.
I feel like that's just how I always draw old ladies. So maybe it just kind of like, it's just in my unconscious mind. Just like, that's what an old lady looks like. Just Mama from Mama's Family.
Right. But when she's pouring boiling water or boiling tea on that girl, that's the
right,
part, that's the part of the book that's like, where it's like, wow, this is really something special.
But she's very like, she's not like this kind of August Underground kind of like giggling torturer who's sort of like, I'm going to torture you, and I love watching.
She wants the woman to fuck her son. That's her
right. So
goal.
she's all business. She's just kind of like, oh, okay, well, you won't give me what I want. Well, how about this? I'm going to pour hot boiling tea on your daughter. So she's not like necessarily getting enjoyment out of the torture. It's just like, this is what has to happen in order to get what I want. And that also felt more exciting to me than sort of that kind of like sadistic, giggling, serial killer type of character. Well,
the difference is just there's a, it's more interesting for the reader because it's like there's a goal behind this all,
Right.
It's like it leads to something else. It's not just she's torturing the girl for just for the sake of shocking us. It's like
Right.
she's doing it to just as you said, to elicit a response, to elicit a result rather.
It's all business.
All business. So that's the one I like, and in fact, that actually inspired me to try my hand at working in that way, working in the way of just like, all right, let's do a page a day and see if I can do this. And what I came out with was my book Black Urn, which I feel similar to you. Like, as I was doing it, I was like, this is really working out. And then when I finished it and I reread it, I was like, I like this. This is actually funny. This is funny, and it's gross, and it's got cool, interesting ideas in it, and it has, and pretty much every loose end is tied up. I didn't leave anything kind of like unresolved.
No, it's well done.
Thanks, man. So I was feeling pretty good about that. I was like, fuck, I can do this. And also, another thing I should mention too is that it really taught me something about kind of like getting older, because when I was like in my 20s, I used to have like what I thought were like brilliant ideas, like daily. Like I used to have so many good ideas for just like concepts and also drawings and designs for things and like creatures and crap and whatever. But I didn't have like the self-control to actually follow through with any of them.
Right.
Like I would always think, okay, I'm going to sit down and I'm going to write a fucking story, and the most I could ever get was like 10 pages of something, And so like the thought of like doing a 140 page comic, like what Black Urn is like, it's not even possible. It's not even attainable in my mind at that age. But now that I'm older, for some reason, like I have way fewer good ideas, I feel, or maybe I'm just more like discerning about my ideas. Like a lot of ideas will come through my head, and I'll be like, no, I know that's not going to work. That's not going to work. And then I'll get a good one, and then, but then I also have the self-control to kind of like carry it through across 140 pages. And then I tried to do another comic afterwards, my comic Neophyte, and I only made it to I think 60 pages with that one, and because I got kind of my excuse, this isn't really the real reason. Like I kind of just like lost interest with it, and and the daunting kind of the daunting kind of realization of how much was left to do kind of discouraged me, because and this goes back to what we were saying before, because the thing about Neophyte is that I didn't write a script for it, but I did write out the entire story kind of in bullet points. So like I knew where it was going, and I was like, oh, we still have to do this, and we still have to do this. Oh no. And I just kind of, it turned me off to the whole thing. And then as a coincidence, I also kind of got pulled in on something else, like another project. So I kind of used that as an excuse to be like, oh, I can't do this anymore. Sorry, everybody. And I stopped doing it on the Patreon. But I guess just the point is that long format stuff is I think something that only kind of like, well, not only, but generally speaking, like I'd say the majority, it can only really be done by an older guy with more, I don't know, with just like an older man's kind of self-control and stick-to-itiveness. Because I just absolutely couldn't do that when I was a kid. And I'm sure that there's younger people, who are doing comics and they're long and everything, but like, I don't know. For me, it didn't work that way. So, and I felt like with me, the age was a big thing. That was the difference. So,
I feel like it's more interesting for me to write a story out in comic form than it is to sit in front of the computer and write out a script.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, but also like the thing about doing a comic. I mean, I would imagine that the process of completing a story is slower because you can only pretty much do like 1 or 2 or maybe 3 pages a day. I mean, 3 pages a day is a lot of work, and Whereas like a script, I mean, how many, like when you're writing a script, like, I mean, what's a good day? A good day is like 3 to 5 like usable pages, you know?
Right.
So I mean, it pretty much is like.
But like for me, it's like I'm fighting. I feel like there's a greater fight of like I'm not feeling as bored sitting in front of the computer typing up a script rather than like if I'm drawing out a story and I'm, drawing the figures and the faces and the violence and like visualizing everything that way. It's instead of like having to, like I can show a crazy violent scene and I don't have to type like, okay, this guy gets his head cut off and then the blood squirts off onto the dog and the dog, I can just show it, and that is more exciting to me.
Yeah, it's also kind of like shifting gears. It's like, okay, so we're doing dialogue now. Okay, this is what they all say. Okay, great. Okay, great. Okay, today it's a new day. Well, now they're going to be fighting. I don't really feel like doing dialogue today, so I'm just going to have them just like, be attacking each other, and I'm going to do like, 8 panels of just a sequence of violence. And then you can, you don't really have to, you can use a different part of your brain, like instead of, when you're writing at a computer, you can't like listen to like a radio show or like a podcast or something. It's impossible. Whereas when you're doing comics, you kind of can.
If I'm writing stuff out, I can't listen to anything. I gotta think. But when I get to the point of like, inking, I can listen to things. But
sure.
As far as like, I have to make sure that the whole page is like generally mapped out. I can't be distracted during that phase.
Right. Yeah, but I mean, like mapping out I don't know about you, but like mapping out a page, like kind of like, okay, where are we going to start? Okay, how are we going to, and another thing too is usually do like equal panels, like 12 panels per page or 8 panels per page usually.
Yeah, I keep it the same every time because then I don't have to think about like this whole Will Eisner, like all that shit is just, I don't know. It's nice, I guess, but it's not what I'm trying to do.
Yeah. I'm kind of in between. Like, I don't like to get too creative with that kind of crap, but I do like to keep the grid. So it's like sometimes the like 4 will become 1, and then there'll be like 2 down. Like It's usually like big one, 2 little ones, and then
like when I was doing Campground Slut, there definitely had to be, because I feel like when you're reading a porn comic, you want some big panels of some action, of the action.
Yeah, you really want to get in there. So
like when there was like when there would be like some kind of crazy scene, I would try to be like, I don't want to draw this in like a little, 2.5-inch panel. It has to be like half the page. It's going to be more fun to draw this fucking scene bigger. So in those cases, I would change the way the panels were set up, but
right.
Yeah. So when you want like a nice money shot, something, I would change it, but I wouldn't do anything like real crazy.
Sure, but I mean the back to the point, like mapping out kind of like, okay, what are we doing today? Well, today the guy's going to come home and he's going to talk with his wife, and the wife's going to tell him this. He's going to be surprised. They're going to have a fight, and then he's going to leave angrily, Okay, great. And then you just kind of can do, like I can do that probably in like literally less than 10 minutes, just kind of knowing what it's going to be and kind of how many panels it needs to do that. And then at that point, you're just kind of drawing it. And at that point, my brain just kind of like, okay, well now it's just expressive.
Well, sometimes you're, if you're, there are days where like there's a page that's just kind of like, okay, we start here and I need to get down here, and it's just like do. But then there's other days where I don't know, there's certain scenes or things are happening that become a little bit more complex, and you start to think like, well, okay, should I do this here or should I do it at all? Should I move it down here? Should I show this first? Should I pace it out like very just like very slowly, or should I just like, do I want to draw this, or do I want to just like jump over here and get to this other thing? So it can vary. There's certain days where it's very simple, and then there's other times where like I'm having a little bit more trouble kind of thinking about like, okay, what should I do here? Is this good enough? Is this the right thing to say here?
Yeah, I mean,
so
sure, it's going to be.
It can depend.
It's going to be. There's not every day is going to be perfect. Like, and there are going to be some days where, like, and when I did Black Urn, I think I had maybe only 2 of those days, 2 days out of 140 days, where I spent my time doing my page, and then I just threw out the page because I didn't like it. You know, I've done that twice with Black Urn.
See, I don't think I've ever thrown out a page. There's definitely pages I had to fix and panels I had to change, but I don't think I've ever thrown anything away completely.
Right. Yeah. Well, that's not the truth with me. I had to throw it too. And then here's a question: like, how do you find like doing a page? Okay, so doing a page a day, and then sort of finishing the book, and then publishing it. Sounds great. Whatever, not too bad. Especially if you have the deal already kind of like plotted out with your publisher. But how do you like? I really, even though I only had like literally like maybe at most like 18 followers on Patreon while I was doing this. I found just the feedback, just even the very scant feedback that I get on Patreon to be very motivating. Like even if it was just someone just being like, oh wow, her tits look huge, or what the hell, that guy's dick is weird looking, like just like having a little bit of feedback, even if it's not even encouragement, it's just like sort of stupid, some guy trying to be funny or some stupid observation. Or like, or some asshole being like, oh, I know what's going to happen. Like some guy trying to like fucking, reveal how much of a hack you are, I found that to be like invaluable to getting through. Like just kind of seeing that there are people kind of engaged with it. And also, and what it does is it creates like a sense of responsibility. Like, well, I can't miss a page. Like I have to these people are all waiting for it. I mean, I know they don't care. Like, I mean, they got all kinds of shit going on in their day. And then all of a sudden they get like an email notification. They open it up and they see, a picture that Johnny's drawn of a 17-year-old girl's like splayed vagina. And they're like, oh, great. That's what happened. That's what happened today. Like I found that the Patreon component of the process was definitely like very motivating. I don't know that I would have been as encouraged to do it or felt as kind of like what's the word? I would feel kind of like I was doing something bad if I didn't do a page. See, I definitely don't rely on that because it's unreliable. Right.
But if somebody messages me and says like, this is basically the highlight of my day, right. That is nice to hear. I don't know if it motivates me. I feel like I would probably be doing this if, under any circumstances.
Yeah, fair enough. I mean, I just found it to be, especially since like, I was doing it completely blind. Like I didn't have any kind of publishing deal. I don't have like, no one gives a fuck. Like, oh, hey, the sadness. Well, the director's doing a comic. Oh, who gives a fuck? We don't want we don't want a comic. We want a movie. We don't, right. I don't read comics, so like the idea of me doing a comic is not, basically what that says to the world is just like, oh, he can't get his movie made right now, like he's.
Well, I mean, maybe, but it's also like, I can't, like, I feel like I can't sit around and wait for stuff to happen. I have to just, make it myself. And if the only way to make it is just to take out a piece of paper and a pen in order to do it, then that's what I'm going to do.
That's true.
I mean, Jodorowsky did it, so fuck him.
Yep. Fuck them. Yeah, it's true. I mean, I've actually been thinking, like, if everything goes as like poorly as possible, and I you know, I don't have any shit going anymore. Like, you know, I even if the thing I was telling you about before doesn't sort of fix itself, and I can go through with that. I have like another thing that these people are trying to put together for me. But even if that falls through, and then, you know, and I got nothing going on, then what I'll do is I'll just, you know, dust off my animation computer, and I'll just start trying to make like a film by myself, like with animation.
Right.
And I might even consider Black Urn as being like the basis for it. And because I think that if you, like, how long does it take for me to do that versus how much I could sell it for? I think I could probably do it. What kind of like that's actually, you know, that actually could be a really great career, like, you know, and making like, you know, like a very healthy 6-figure sort of yearly salary. Because I think I could probably make a movie a year if I did it myself with just what I have in that room over there.
Right.
But
well, that's sort of like, I feel like that is the situation that a lot of artists are in, is sort of like, I have ideas, I have cool things I want to make. No one wants to help me make them. So how can I do this by myself?
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, that's the thing, is like, I actually am a pretty like accomplished animator, but I just prefer live action so much more, just because of the reach it has, and also because it, you know, I love fucking, you know, cinema, and to, you know, I love animation too, but animation just doesn't, you know, how, like, you know, how much, I was about to say like, how much better would Perfect Blue be if it was real, if it was a live action movie? And then all of a sudden I realized that's a stupid thing to say, because it's perfect the way it is. But
never seen it.
You never saw Perfect Blue?
No.
Have you seen any of Satoshi Kon movies?
Paprika?
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, it's all right.
I thought it was all right. I thought it's amazing. It's so good. Are you crazy? It's fucking amazing. What else is like that?
I'm not a fucking weeb, I guess.
Yeah, you are. You're on a fucking Japan Book Hunters fucking site.
I'm the definition of a weeb.
Yeah, exactly.
Constantly, I'm on there like I have a direct line to him all the time.
Well, you're in his library, fucking digging through fucking weird sunglasses.
I'm in his
magazines.
attic.
Yeah, exactly. I got that video still. That can be the thumbnail of you meandering down that ladder.
That'd be cool if my ass was hanging out of that. You got a picture of that.
Yeah, well, I can Photoshop that in.
Okay. Put like an AI ass crack hanging out.
I'll make it talk for the thing, for the Instagram short.
Have it talk French.
Yeah, exactly. Within a sort of a French accent that just sounds like Apu from The Simpsons. Yeah. So, anyways, yeah. Fuck. Like, comics are cool and stuff and whatever, but film. I talked to a certain well-known comic book writer who I'm sure you know who I'm talking about recently.
Stanley.
And that's right, Stan Lee. We had a Ouija board in the house the other day. But the guy who I talked to said that when he was starting doing comics, he was not really looking at other comics. Like his sort of storytelling, his storytelling kind of foundation was like 100% film. Like when he was writing stories for comics, he was writing films. And
right.
And I feel like that's the same, like, that's the same for you, I would say. I mean, like, especially with these newer ones, like, because you're such a film, like, nerd, like, you know so much about film, and you've seen so many films, and like, and the way that you kind of like assess them is, I'd say, pretty like sophisticated. So like, but I mean, okay, so like but you're probably like, because you actually went to like comic drawing school and stuff, right? Like you went to.
No.
You didn't? I thought you went to
comic school.
I thought you went to like the Will Eisner Academy or something.
No.
Oh, really?
No, I'm fucking completely self-taught.
Oh, okay.
Did it all by myself.
I thought you went to like the Joe Kubert school or something.
No.
Okay.
I went to the Kathy Guys White Institute.
Okay. Well. Okay. Fuck. So anyway. So okay. That just sort of leads me to the next point more quickly. Were you looking at like other comics, or were you looking at more like movies to make you kind of?
I mean, at that time, like when I was starting, there was. I mean, as a kid, I read superhero comics and Mad Magazine and newspaper strips. But when I started doing my own comic, it was primarily Robert Crumb's work that I was very obsessed with, and that's what I wanted to do. So I just wanted to do that. I wasn't necessarily thinking. I don't think I was really sort of thinking of film. I mean, there might be certain aspects of what I was doing that had some film element to it, but I don't know. I don't really feel like I was truly incorporating that knowledge probably until Prison Pit.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Well, great. Well, that's enough about you. Sounds good.
Yeah, fuck that.
Yeah. I mean, come on. You love talking about yourself. We all love talking about ourselves.
No, not really.
We're all just. That's why we do this shit, because we're vain, and we have.
I like it when you talk about me, not me talk about me.
Okay. Well, I mean, let's replay the recording. We'll see who talks more about you when we're talking about you.
All right. Let's do that.
Anyways, yeah, but no, I think that the progression of the stuff that you've done is interesting to think about and to look at, because it's like, I think it definitely has gotten more cinematic, and you even sort of seem to approach it with sort of like, okay, well, what if the people from, what if the Warriors got into it with the Chuds, or what if Little Darlings was like a porno, and then there was also, well, I mean, like what is Campground Slut? It's like Little Darlings plus what? Plus like the Burning or something, or
yeah, there's a little. Well, actually, I was. It started. There's a book called Pan by Knut Hamsun.
Okay.
And it was about this guy living in the woods who falls in love with this teenage girl who lives nearby. And that kind of was the seed. That was the seed of the idea. And then it kind of morphed into sort of like this a little Friday the 13th-ish, Little Darlings sort of experience. Yeah.
Yeah. I just remembered too, I asked you this before, like months ago. Did you have were you thinking about that Japanese film Hausu?
No, but I definitely was. I had been reading a lot of Japanese like sex comics from like the 70s and 80s, and I sort of was feeling like, yeah, I want to try to do something along these lines, like just do like a whole big book that was just like sex.
Yeah. The reason why I really thought that Hausu was influence was just because of how the characters were set up. Like, it's like like, oh, I'm tennis Teresa or whatever.
I think that's just like all Asian cinema. There's just like, this is the chapstick guy, and this is the girl who.
That's completely different. It's not like it's not.
But
it's
all
not like,
I feel like all like Asian cinema like kind of goes there with each character is just defined by like, oh, I'm the girl that makes soup all the time, and I'm the girl that I'm the girl who picks her nose, and I'm the fat girl, and and they kind of go in that. They kind of do those quick little, like they do these quick little character things where it's just kind of like, oh, that each character is just defined by this one thing that they do, and then you have a complete character like right there, ready to go. Like, oh, this is the character that plays the trombone, and this is the character that eats fried chicken, and this is the character that plays tennis.
Yeah, but I mean, but it's I know what you're saying, but I think it's different than the eye for an eye examples that you gave. In Houseu, it's like, oh, it's kung fu. She's the sporty, tough kung fu one, and then it's like, oh, Max, she's kind of chubby, and she likes eating a lot. And then there's fantasy, and she's a dreamer, and like that's kind of maybe you don't see a difference of what I'm talking about, but I think that
I don't.
Okay, well, there's anyways. So I mean, we basically we filled up pretty much an hour just talking about your comics and your working and stuff. I don't think we're probably going to get to a movie today.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah, well, because I have to go. I have a bunch of shit I have to do today, a bunch of really annoying stuff I have to do today. But one movie that I did watch last night was Prince of Tides.
Again? You watched it twice?
I watched Prince of Tides again because I thought it would be funny. I thought that my girlfriend would like it. And
did she like it?
She hated it. She was like, this is like a movie for like old ladies. And I'm like, that's pretty much exactly what it is. It's a movie by an old lady for other old ladies,
Yeah.
And I just thought it would be funny to watch it because I just heard that there's like a part in it where have you ever seen that movie, by the way?
Of course not.
Well, I don't know, maybe you did. I watched
Why would I watch that?
I don't know, because it's just something. It's just something that's on TV.
It's something. Yeah, change the channel.
I felt like it was worth watching Prince of Tides because number one, I do like Nick Nolte almost always, and then number two, it just seemed like a funny movie for me to watch. Like, oh, I'm going to watch Prince of Tides tonight, and then I decided to watch it again because I wanted to see if my girlfriend liked it, and she didn't like it. And
I like how I told you to watch The Human Condition. You refused to watch The Human Condition.
I didn't refuse.
But yeah, you said, I'm not watching that. That's what you said. And
then right.
You're watching Prince of Tides twice, which is probably like as long as The Human Condition.
Dude, the first installment of Human Condition is like over 3 hours long.
That's good.
Okay, fine. I mean, I did try to watch it, but I found myself being distracted. I'll try to fucking do it, man. Like, I mean, I need someone else to come and sit down and watch it with me because, like, left to my own devices, I'm just gonna like lose interest and start doing something else. But back to the Prince of Tides. There's a scene in it that I heard mentioned where a bunch of when Nick Nolte is like a young boy. A group of prisoners break into his house and they rape his mother and sister, and then they also rape him, and then his brother busts in with a shotgun and like shoots two of them, and then so it's a double barrel shotgun, so like he's got to reload, but he drops all the shells on the floor, and the third guy starts running towards him, and then the mother like comes up behind and like stabs him in the third guy in the back, and then they end up burying the three bodies, and they're able to kind of like cover it up because these were prisoners that had escaped from the prison that I guess they lived near to or whatever, and and that's kind of like the family, and they never told the father. The father was out, and they just kind of cleaned up the house, and they just were like, yep, nothing happened, and then this is sort of like the enduring pain that Dr. Susan Lowenstein, played by Barbara Streisand, has to coax out of Nick Nolte in order to help him,
closure.
Well, yeah, like because he doesn't know how to
process it.
No. He doesn't know how to connect with people emotionally. Like his marriage is failing, and the woman is kind of having an affair with this doctor, and the wife is like, it's been so long since you've touched me. Like anytime we try to get close, you always like shy away, and it's like you never tell me that you love me and all this stuff.
It'd be funny if he was like, honey, maybe you could wear this prison uniform.
Yeah, you can wear this like stripy like Monopoly prison outfit,
and then strap on this dildo and peg me up the ass. Maybe I'll like that.
That's what fucking Barbara Streisand suggests. You know, she prescribes this fucking veiny dildo.
We should write Prince of Tides 2.
Prince of what rhymes with tides? Prince of come on, what's a good pun? Well,
Prince of Slides.
Not bad. It's a good start. In Mad Magazine, it was Prince of Tirades.
That's horrible.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. But they weren't even trying. That's like, I think that was like 1991 was that Mad Magazine.
They could have done better then.
That's true. But yeah, anyways, like the movie is so funny. It's because the thing too is that the production value, the cinematography and everything on it is like, it's pretty good. Like it's a pretty good looking, well-made film. But of course, it's gonna be like Barbara Streisand's been doing films for.
Do you see like the whole rape and shit, or is that just like he just talks about it?
No, like they show it and they have the little boy with the criminal guy like right next to him, like behind him, and he's like, "Tell me you love it," and he's like, "Ah!" just like screaming into the camera. So I mean, it's worth watching for that. I'd say that like Nick Nolte's pretty likable in it as well as sort of like a good old boy from South Carolina who everybody's very unimpressed by, like in New York City. In New York City, everybody's all.
Was that based on a book, like Pat Conroy or something?
Yeah, it was Pat Conroy, exactly.
Oh, see, pulled that out of my ass.
What else has Pat Conroy written?
Love Story? Didn't you write Love Story?
I have no fucking clue.
Ryan O'Neal and Ali McGraw? It was like the #1 film of like 1973 or something.
Right. Yeah. No, I never saw a Love Story, but yeah. No. So the Prince of Tides. I mean, it's a movie for old ladies.
Old ladies who like to like prison rape.
Well, that's just a little bit of spicy stuff for them to kind of gasp. Like it's done and then that happens maybe like 40 minutes before the film ends, and then there's still enough time for like Nick Nolte to cry in Barbara Streisand's arms, and then after that, they're sort of like they go to like the cottage together and they have this sort of like fuck fest, where they just bang a lot, and there's lots of like big like string ensemble kind of overtures of them just kind of like humping each other.
Did you see Barbara Streisand's nude body?
No, she always wears like a camisole, like even when she's fucking. It's pretty upsetting because like at least get naked for your film, because she directed that film.
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah, but anyways, overall, this is gonna be the reason I'm bringing this all up is because this is gonna be the first time that I use the eggplant meter on Prince of Tides.
Okay,
I'm gonna give
it 0 eggplants because A, it sucks, and B, I haven't seen it.
Yeah, that's right. especially the second one. You haven't seen it, so you have to give it 0. But I'm going to give it 2 eggplants on the 5 eggplant scale.
You're saying that like you're so pained to have to give things eggplant ratings. Yep.
I also rewatched Kingpin. Remember that movie Kingpin?
Oh yeah, that was pretty good.
Yeah, that one was pretty good. I'm going to give that one 3.5 on the eggplant scale. And I also saw the new VHS movie, VHS Beyond.
Yeah.
It's maybe 1. It's not very good.
Yeah, I'm not interested.
Yeah, those movies are not. I don't think that the spirit that's going into them is like what it used to be. I think that there used to be at least something going on with those, but now I think it's just some fucking yahoos just kind of, treating the series as some kind of like scheme, like some kind of hustle.
Ponzi scheme.
Some kind of Ponzi scheme, yeah. Is a Ponzi scheme like a pyramid? Is that what that means? It means like a pyramid marketing or whatever, or?
I don't know. It was, what was that guy who went to the famous guy who went to jail for doing it? You know what I'm talking about?
The Menendez brothers?
Yeah. When the Menendez brothers stole billions of dollars from the New York elite.
Ponzi scheme.
In their Ponzi scheme. So what was the name of that New York guy who got, like, who was like the best Ponzi schemer in history? I
don't know. But the definition of Ponzi scheme is essentially a pyramid scheme.
Okay.
So it's like you're paying existing investors with funds collected from new investors, and that's how the whole thing works. So I don't know that the VHS series is technically a Ponzi scheme, but it's just some kind of grift.
Oh, I remember his name. His name was Arthur Ponzarelli.
Oh, there you go.
That's where the name came from.
The Fonz. Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Not bad. So
you wanted puns? Here they are.
Yeah, that's great. I wish we could have come up with a good one for Prince of Tides, though, because Prince of.
I'm gonna have to go sit alone in a dark room and come up with one.
Yeah. Okay. Let's do that. Yeah. Fuck. All right. Well, you know what? I think this is okay for an episode. We talked about sort of vaguely about your comics, and then briefly about the film, the 1991 film directed by Barbara Streisand, The Prince of Tides.
Well, you did. I didn't say a word. I never saw it.
Well, I mean, but I knew that you would have a lot to say about it anyways.
I had nothing to say about it.
Yeah, you said it sucks, and you asked
I just had a bunch of questions. I asked if you saw the rape.
Right.
That's about it. Well,
yeah.
do you see Babs nude?
Yeah.
Babs boobs.
Right. This is great. This is good content for the internet.
Okay.
You know? You prompt me, and then I answer. But yeah, okay. So hold on. It sucks because we should have talked about some other movies today, but I don't know. I guess personally, I just wasn't really feeling it. We were going to talk about what? We were going to talk about
Her Vengeance.
Her Vengeance.
Betrayed. I was all amped up to talk about Betrayed.
Right.
And
Rape Squad.
A Rape Squad.
Right.
Which, yeah, I was ready to tear that apart.
Yeah. Well, okay. Listen. Fuck. Maybe what we should do is we should just do this again, like, soon, and we should just bank. Maybe. Well, I don't. We can keep this episode, but then we can just bank it so that we have 2 in the bank.
All right.
Yeah. So we'll get going on that one. Next episode, we promise we'll talk about Betrayed, Rape Squad, and motherfucking Her Vengeance.
Her Vengeance.
Right. Yeesh. Okay. Well, yeah. So thanks a lot for listening, everybody. Today's episode. Oh, right. Yentl. Did Barbara Streisand direct Yentl as well?
Oh yeah.
Okay. I've never seen Yentl. Oh, that's right. You. I saw somebody paint some Yentl paintings recently.
That's true.
Yeah, they're pretty nice. Was that for a commission?
Uh-huh.
Oh, okay. Does that person who painted them like Yentl?
No, the person who commissioned the painting likes Yentl.
I know, but so the person who painted the paintings doesn't like Yentl?
Well, I hate to speak for that person, but I don't think she thought it was all that great.
Okay. Got it. Yeah, I mean, there's a certain kind of schmaltz that's only made for sort of Jewish middle-aged women,
Right.
Okay, well, on that note, until next time, bye.
Bye-bye.